Hi, I'm Kalena Tano.
And I'm Jane Frischia.
And this is On the Other Foot, a no-holds-barred look at the world of dance.
Each week, we bring you a podcast on nutrition, lifestyle, and mental health for regular people who happen to dance.
Every Tuesday, we're going to take on a topic in the dance world that isn't spoken about enough and approach it honestly for our listeners. Isn't that nice of us?
Hello, faithful listeners. It's me, and I'm back, and I don't have laryngitis.
Yes, we did have to take a week hiatus for Jane's laryngitis to improve, because if we would have done a podcast, it would have literally just been me, and I know that nobody and their mother wants to hear that, so...
I mean, I would have still listened, but I would have also interjected with, like, my lizard voice. Just like... It was so funny anyway.
Well,
it wasn't funny because it lasted like 14 days.
It was a long time.
It lasted so long.
Yeah. But anyways, we are back and doing much better. We're healthy. I was somehow also sick during that time period. You had laryngitis long enough that I received a cold and got over a cold, which is impossible because usually my colds last me 8 years. Like the entire 7 years war was me being ill.
I had laryngitis so long that you teched and performed a show.
Yeah. Well, we're back now. This week we are going to be doing a quick little Q&A. We are going to be doing the first of our episodes that are a little shorter because we've heard a lot of feedback that people really enjoyed the first couple episodes that were a little shorter. So we're thinking that probably in the future when we do interviews, we're probably going to split them into 2 parts. We are going to be doing a few more of these little uncut episodes because they're kind of fun, and we are going to be doing some fun stuff. So
we got some questions submitted on our Instagram. If you don't follow us, it's at otherfoot.pod. So if you had a question that didn't get answered, it's because you need to go follow us on Instagram, and then you would have known. Just saying.
Yep. So next time we do one of these, maybe we'll do one in the future. Make sure you submit your questions so that we can answer them. And follow us so that you know when we're going to do one. So, Jane, what is the first question?
Okay, so the first question, we're going to start easier and then get a little bit harder, because that's how you do things. Like a ballet class, we're starting with a nice plie. So the first question is, what inspired you to create the pod?
What inspired us to create the pod? Well, we were probably inspired just by, I listened to a lot of podcasts over the summer, and I started to really like the setup of them, and I kind of liked the format, and I kind of wanted to, make something similar, and Jane did a little bit of blogging over the summer. You wrote some stuff, and I have written some stuff for blogs in the past that I've liked, and I've always, wanted to be able to put my voice out there, but never known, a way that people would actually, consume. So we kind of just, talked about it one day, and then
we would like to thank the Lemonade restaurant for harboring us as we talked about it.
Yes, the UTC Lemonade hath birthed this podcast. We were there for 3 hours. Well, yeah, that's kind of what inspired us. And I also think that I've seen a lot of, I can never find podcasts for exactly what I want to listen to, and I kind of have been wanting to listen to a podcast that's just talking about dance, not just talking about people in dance. There's a lot of dance podcasts that interview people, but I don't think there's a lot of them that talk about topics as much. It's more just this is this person, and you get their views on stuff through that, but there's not really a podcast that's based on topics rather than people. So that's kind of what we wanted to make.
We're also trying not to preach about dance.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a niche that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
And I understand why it gets preachy because it's such a personal topic to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we both just wanted, when you find there's a lack of something, sometimes you want to fill that void. And this is just something that we wanted to do. I mean, honestly, for ourselves too, but we hope people get things out of it.
That's kind of also where the interview basis came from, because Jane and I are in no way incredibly qualified to talk about dance. There are people in the dance world who could talk about dance for years, and you could be yes, that is correct. But we're kind of just 2 people who dance. Like, I've only been a professional for, like, this is my 2nd year now. And I mean,
I am a dance major. I am a student.
Yeah. So, like, we wanted to make a podcast that wasn't about, like, preaching about dance, but more just, like, starting conversations, because, like, in no way are we people who, like, are at the forefront of the dance world. So, yeah, we just wanted to...
But it turns out we know people that are, so go figure that one.
Yeah, that's fun. So, yeah. What's next? What is a topic that you feel is important for young dancers to hear or understand?
Oh, I have one that I think is important because I've talked to one of the kids that I RA'd for over ABT.
Yeah.
I think that it's important to understand that no matter how much you love ballet and how dedicated you are to it, or dance in general, there is eventually going to be a time where you seriously consider quitting, and that doesn't mean that you are any less dedicated to it.
Yeah.
It's a very normal thing. Life leads you down many paths. We live in a society where people are well-rounded, and you have so many different paths you can take, and we're really fortunate that this is not like the 1400s where you pop a kid out when you're 14 and then you die. You have a lot of things you could be doing, and you have a lot of priorities. Family sometimes has to become a priority, sometimes friends, sometimes significant others, sometimes school, sometimes a career. And so I think that it's just really important to remember that just because you love something, it doesn't mean that it's all sunshine and roses, and B, just because you love something does not mean you are never going to consider quitting it. Yeah. It's just a matter of it takes some introspection to figure out if you really need to or not, if you really need to quit or not, but it is a normal process to go through wanting to leave.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that I would really want to talk about too, especially from the angle of, like, that sometimes when, like, your mental health is suffering, sometimes that's just, like, your mental health is suffering. Like, there doesn't always have to be, like, ballet is making my life hard and stuff like that. Like, even though you might lose that, like when I was in high school, ballet was very, like, I got home from school and now I'm going to go to ballet and, like, feel better about myself, and ballet is so fun and I just get to do it in my spare time and it's not stressful. But when you're a professional, like, doing ballet is your job and it's all you do. And once that switch happens, it can be very easy to feel like ballet, like, doesn't make you happy anymore, at least in the same way that it did in high school. But I think that a lot of that is just that, you know, you had ballet as your outlet, and now ballet is, like, your main input, so now you need a new outlet. Like, you have to go find something else. And I think that acknowledging that just because you don't feel extremely fulfilled on a day-to-day basis doesn't mean that, like, ballet doesn't make you happy anymore, because it might just be, like, the circumstance of your life and the fact that you don't have anywhere else to go, and that you're searching for something in ballet that's not what ballet is anymore. Once it's your job, it's kind of plays a different role. So you have to kind of find something else to kind of counteract that, because if you put all of your energy into something, you're always going to be disappointed with the result, because it's going to feel like you're not getting enough out of it, versus if you spread your energy out over a few different things, you might feel a little bit more like balanced and not so like the scale is depending on, like, one thing. So yeah,
that whole, like, mantra of do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life, like, that's not true.
It's stupid. Like, it's not true.
There is nothing in this world that gives constant and consistent fulfillment and feelings of joy.
Yeah,
and
everything is hard.
It's no different.
Yeah. Hey everybody, Kalena here. Before we keep going with this amazing interview, let's take a quick break to talk about On the Other Foot. I know, as if we haven't talked about it enough. On the Other Foot is currently entirely run and produced by 2 college students and funded by the little change in our piggy banks, as well as the generosity of our guests and contributors. If you'd like to support On the Other Foot, consider making a contribution by becoming a supporter through Anchor. You can become a supporter today by navigating to our Anchor page and clicking Support This Podcast. Your contribution supports conversations between dancers, teachers, and all regular people who are a part of the On the Other Foot community. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of this episode. What is the question number 3?
Question number 3. All right. Question number 3 is, how have your plans for the future changed from when you were younger to now? That's a big question.
I have to remember what my plans... I don't even think I really had any plans.
Oh, I had
when
some
I was
plans.
I guess I did, but they were so like when you're little you make plans for like plans that will be brought into reality when you're like 40. So you get to be like 20 and you're like, "Oh my god, like my life has not panned out." And it's like because my childhood dream was to like build an empire and be like at the top of a company and like own and operate my own ballet company and like be creating ballets about original stories that I know, and like that's not something that you are doing when you're 20 years old. Like when you're 20 years old, you're sitting in the back of the court of ballet worrying about everything.
Worrying.
When you're 20 years old, your dream job is to not worry for one day about something because my job is worrying right now about everything. It's the 20-year-old. That's the 20-year-old.
Once you pass 18, your job forever is just worrying.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
That's a naive statement for me to make. But yeah, I think that when I mean, on a more serious note, I think that my plans when I was little were to like, I know I wanted to like go to school and be dancing full time at the same time. Oh my god, Jane. Jane is currently recording inside of a studio that apparently has automated lights, and the lights just turned off on her for like 20 seconds. That was really funny.
Thank you, PTSU 1140.
Yeah, but I think that when I was little, my dream was to do like everything at once. Like I was going to be full-time at college and dancing professionally and creating my own dance company and like starting my own small business and like doing all of this stuff. And like, not to say that I don't multitask right now, but that's impossible. You cannot do 8 things full-time. That's why it's called full-time.
Yeah, you can't do 8 things
because it takes all your time. Actually, I'm a full-time student and a full-time dancer right now, but...
Yeah, you are.
I mean, that's like full-time morning versus full-time night. So I do a lot of things. I mean, not to discredit the fact that I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things, and Jane does too. But I do not do as many things to the extent that I thought I was going to do them when I was little. And I had to realize, you know, when I turned 17, 18, that you have to choose between full-time things when you're a real adult.
Yeah, I haven't realized that yet, and I just took on everything I could take on this quarter, and then I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I think, I mean, not to discredit Kalena still does more than I do.
No, I think that college gives you that extra time, and college really encourages you to be like, do everything. Do it all.
Yeah, and then you do everything, and they're like, well, maybe you should have planned your schedule better. And you're like, but you told me to do everything. Anyway.
And then Peter comes and beats you up.
Yeah, Peter the
your nightmares
comes and just knocks me out, and that's how I sleep at night. I think for me, my plans changed more on the scale. I've been a really big bunhead my whole life, and when I was little, I just really, really wanted to go to SAB and dance for New York City Ballet. Up until the time I was like 15, and then like the dream kind of died. I mean, it didn't die. Like, imagine I had gone to SAB and then like all the Peter Martins, Alex Waterbury stuff broke. I would not have been having a good time there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was very much, I was like, oh, I never want to go to college. I will leave school if I can get some spot at some prestigious school, and this and that matters to me. And then I think as I got older, I don't know, those things just kind of fell away. Yeah. I mean, I still have siblings that are pretty young, and so I think being close to home ended up being something that was important to me. When you get older and you learn the value of money, your plans begin to change a little bit because you realize what resources are available to you. And also just, I think the older you get, you choose your general happiness more than what other people think of you.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's not so much that either of our plans change. I think that life just happened, and we matured and we prioritized, and then we still continue to try and achieve our goals just within a more realistic means.
Yeah, as it does with any normal person.
Everyone. Yeah.
So the next question is, what is the biggest thing that you've had to sacrifice for your dance training or career, or like just dance in general? Which is kind of a hard one to answer because there's a lot. It's a long list.
There's a long list. a long pause and a deep sigh.
Yeah. When you think about...
I think the biggest thing that I sacrificed for dance was my 4th year of high school / my gap year. I think that entire year was a really big sacrifice, not only for me, but also for my family to support me through that. It was really difficult, even being in an online charter school, to get through high school in 3 years. I took APs up the wazoo and took classes both summers of high school.
Yeah.
One summer I took multiple classes, and so that was a lot. But then I think also my gap year, like not following the normal, like what a kid my age does, and trying to really situate myself within that 1 year. I don't know. I think it was a big sacrifice of mental health and also health, because I got really like physically sick that year.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
I'm boring, Kalena.
That's not boring. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. I know a lot of people. My little sister is graduating early. For the reason of trying to get through school and dance more. That's like a very, I know a lot of people who homeschool because they dance. I know a lot of people who, there are a lot of like sacrifices of education for dance, which doesn't mean that people who dance aren't just as smart as everybody. And it doesn't mean like we're giving up education for dance. It just means we're taking like a harder and less accepted trail to getting our education. That was a big sacrifice for me too. Like, probably becoming a professional, the biggest sacrifice I had to make was leaving UCSD. And like, I didn't even tell a lot of people. I mean, I say this all the time, but I didn't tell a lot of people about it for a long time because I was so like ashamed of the fact that I was doing that, because it felt so like unorthodox and horrible. And like, I grew up always valuing my education so much, and I still do, and I still work really hard in school, but going to community and taking the majority of my classes online, although I do take some classes in person, was a really big jump to make. And, you know, sometimes, like, when the dancing gets rough, the first thing that I regret is not staying in school not staying at UCSD, but also the first thing that, like, makes me feel better about the fact that I'm online at school is that I get to dance. So it's kind of that trade-off of, you know, I'm not doing the most normal and safe thing, but you have to just kind of throw caution to the wind and know that like you're still a smart person and that you're still getting your work done, and that that's just as valuable as what you were doing before. So yeah, we make some big, I mean, that is not the only thing, but education is a big thing that a lot of people sacrifice. A traditional public school regulated education. And even when I was in high school, I had to make a lot of my school decisions. Like, I didn't get to take as many APs in high school as I probably could have because I danced, because I just didn't have time. There was no way that I could get my GPA as high as I probably wanted to and could have without cutting back on ballet in order to have time to do homework. And that was just a choice that I had to make, and I don't regret it. I don't think that I really lost out on anything, and hopefully I'll feel the same way about what I'm doing right now someday.
Yeah.
It's very up and down. So yeah.
It is very up and down. All right. So, yeah, we answered that well, honestly, for how loaded it was.
Yeah.
It kind of rolls nicely into the next question we got. And this one, actually, like, a few people wanted to know, so I wonder if it's from dancers, but it's, as dancers, how do you stay inspired?
Oh,
what really is inspiration?
I know. Yeah, that's what I think of. I'm like, when do I feel inspired and when do I not feel inspired? Like, I think that like environment plays a big role. Like, if I'm around people who are working hard and are inspired and are motivated, then I feel the same way, just like I feed off of that energy. And if I'm around people who are not motivated, then a lot of times I feel the same way about my own dancing. But even with that, like, the opportunity to perform is very motivating. And just like seeing other people dance, like, it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing, where like I see a really dramatic and like beautiful role, or I see somebody have like really incredible artistry on stage, and I'm like, oh my god, I want to be like that. So then it like inspires me to like work on my artistry more, or even like technique. If I see somebody who's really good in class, I'll try to like not copy, but like I'll try to work with an ethic that they work at and see if that makes a difference to me. Like the thought of always like improving and challenging myself is probably the most inspiring thing. And the times that I don't feel inspired are the times that I feel that there's no challenge. Not that I can't improve, that I'm like too good and I can't improve anymore, but like that I don't have something challenging me. If I don't have something pushing me, then a lot of times I don't feel as inspired, or I have to pull from somewhere else to feel that inspiration.
So we've been doing this thing in choreography that's kind of reminded me of what's inspired me, where we go and try to create like an immersive experience where we spend 20 minutes or so focused on one sense and what we can sense with that sense around us. And I think that there have been moments where I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? Like, I'd be totally fine not dancing. And then I'll catch myself. Anytime I hear music, I'll start moving. And it's involuntary. And I think that this immersive experience thing, because she said, you know, if you feel inspired to move. And I didn't think I was going to be. But no matter if I'm looking at something or I'm feeling something or I'm hearing something, like, I want to move. And so I think you can be inspired by, like, as cheesy as it is, the little things around you every day and the way that they make you want to move, just to remind yourself that even not at a technical level, even if you're not practicing technique at an intrinsic level, you as a dancer want to move.
Yeah.
And I think that that's very inspiring.
Yeah, I think that's a big, important concept. And like when I was at UCSD, I didn't have time to take the advanced contemporary class, so I had to take the beginning intermediate contemporary class, which I was kind of bummed about because I was like, I have been taking contemporary since I was 10 years old. Like, I do not need to be at a beginning intermediate contemporary class. But I actually thought it was really interesting to watch the people in the class who had never taken dance before, because everybody took it completely seriously. I mean, it was for our grade, but like everybody took it really seriously. And when we would do like amoeba improv, like laying on the floor, like just moving and stuff like that, like those people would actually get really creative. And it was interesting because when you're not trained from a technical point of view, like dancing is just kind of moving around. So for me, I would be like, okay, we're doing improv. Like, I'm going to try to do a pirouette and, like, maybe, like, a tilt so that, like, I can show off that aspect of my technique. But, like, there was people in there just doing, like, monkey arms and swinging around and doing a couple butt spins all the time. I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I need to be more like that. Like, you just kind of have to forget that it's... Sometimes you have to forget that it's technical and just, like, appreciate the fact that you have that, like, dancer gene in you that wants to move around and like listen to it.
Because not everyone has that. There are people that cannot not just dance, but there are people that can't recognize rhythm. But yeah, if you have that gene and if you are a dancer, appreciate it.
Yeah. Is it my turn?
Okay. Yeah, it's your turn. You want to lead us into this last question?
So our last question is, what impact do you hope the pod has on your viewers? Which is another kind of deep question. But yeah, what would you say?
I keep taking these really long pauses with very deep sighs.
Well, we didn't really pre-write out responses to these. They're kind of organic.
No, this is on the fly.
We gotta think for a second.
You know, I hope that it just normalizes dance.
Yep.
Not just for non-dancers, because for non-dancers, like we've talked about this before, like dance can be such an ethereal and mysterious thing, and the life of a dancer is so glamorized, and
yeah,
you can normalize it for non-dancers, but do you really want to? Like for dancers, I don't know. I just hope it destigmatizes talking about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
going to say. I think back to Candy Tong's interview and how she just was so open with her career and being like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that, I don't know, that's the impact I want, is that no matter what you're doing, no matter like if you thought you were going to be some principal with the Royal Ballet and then that ended up not happening and now you teach at some studio in a strip mall, like I don't know, whatever your path is with dance, I just hope that this works to normalize it and to have people appreciate it and to find some inner peace and be proud of what we all do in this art form, regardless of the level we're doing it at, or how serious we take it, or our reason for starting and continuing.
Yeah. I think it should really, like, I hope that people can just, like, learn to talk more organically about stuff, and I really appreciated that, again, like, Candy was really, like, honest and open, and, like, she wasn't afraid to say that, like, she didn't want to go to college, and that she thought it was a waste of time, and stuff like that, and, you know, not everybody believes that, but that is, like, a real sentiment. Like, a lot of people fear going to college as a ballet major, thinking that they're giving up their careers, and that's something that a lot of people don't talk about right away, and I just hope that we can talk about things more openly, because, like, there is a lot of true politics in ballet where, you know, some things you have to be careful what you say, because some people are feeling certain ways certain days, and you have to tread lightly, and, like, if y'all think, like, elections are dramatic, like, y'all should see the studio the day the casting comes out, because that is dramatic for weeks on end. Like, the drama never ends in ballet, but I have found, like, in my experience, that the more open and honest you are with people, and the more you just relax and just talk about things instead of trying to, like, treat everybody like they're a landmine, and, like, you can't talk to people about things, and, like, you can't be open with your peers. I just want that to end, because everything is so much easier when you can just talk about things, and people just get over things. And usually, like, I've seen a lot, if something dramatic will happen, usually, like, people will be upset about it for a couple days or maybe a week or so, and then sometimes I'll have conversations with people, and they will honestly say, like, yeah, I know, I was acting horrible. Like, people know when they're being dramatic. It's not just this world of, like, everyone is evil and out to get you, and, like, everybody's going to be mad at you forever. Like, and as a young dancer too, like, I'm very intimidated to talk to a lot of people that I dance with, and so it's always been really helpful for me when people come up to me and say, like, you know, I'm not mad at you. Like, you know, you're doing a great job. Like, don't think that, like, the guidance from older people is really helpful to me, and I hope that, you know, I can encourage more people to talk to the people underneath them like that, because I'm not a mentor to very many people, but the kids that I teach and the people that I do interact with who are younger than me, I do try to, you know, guide them in a good direction, because I know how good that feels to feel like you have had somebody with experience tell you, like, it's all gonna work out okay.
Yeah, to normalize communication is...
Please.
Please start normalizing communication.
Please communicate. It's what you're supposed to do.
It's what makes the world go round.
It's what makes the world go round. All right, well, that was our Q&A. We hope you enjoyed it.
Who sent Qs. We hope you liked our As.
And we hope that in the future, if we send more Q&As, that we will get lots more Qs from you guys, now that you know kind of the kind of questions that we're picking out. But we'll answer anything, honestly. Submit anything. I'll tell you what my favorite color is, but not unless you ask.
Please,
if you ask
Kalena what her favorite color is.
I will tell you, but the answer will be a secret until then. So somebody hold on to that. So yeah.
Right. So
thank
usual,
you for listening.
Follow at otherfoot.pod. If you we've had, okay, I'm going to say this really fast. We would really, we don't know if you want to be anonymous or not, but we would really like to thank the two people who contribute to On the Other Foot monthly now. That's awesome, because as you may or may not know, we're 20 and we're in college and we don't have a lot of money. So the fact that you like listening to us and support what we're doing enough to contribute your ducats to it, that means a lot to us. If anyone else would like to do that, you can sponsor us through Anchor. But you can also just sponsor us with your kind words, and you're following us, and you're listening to us, and you're sending in questions.
Always helpful. Anything is helpful always. And if you want our sound quality and editing quality to improve, donate them ducats. Because your girl don't got extra money for expensive, nice microphone. I got a $20 microphone. Some days it doesn't work, so I have to record on my laptop. Jane records on her laptop every week because her microphone died in the first 2 weeks. But we're still out here and we're making content, okay? All right. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week, hopefully with a new interview. And yeah, we hope you enjoy this kind of shorter format and let us know what you think. See ya.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of On the Other Foot.
We want to connect with you on days other than Tuesday, so be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at otherfoot.pod.
And visit our website to learn more about how On the Other Foot started and join our mailing list.
If you have any questions for me and Jane, or would like to suggest a topic or guest, email us at ontheotherfoot.podcast@gmail.com.
And please subscribe. It makes a huge difference to us. We want to offer you all discount codes and annoy you with sponsorship ads, and we cannot do that unless you subscribe. So please, do it now.
And above all, thanks for listening. It really means a lot to us. We hope you tune in to On the Other Foot next week for more conversation on the world of dance.